Hi, everyone. Welcome to day 4 of this challenge. I seriously cannot believe that we are already on day 4 and that it's already Thursday. How did that happen? I don't know. So welcome anyone who's joining. It's amazing to have you here. I'm just going to get the setup right so everyone can see everything. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And let's make sure we've got the Q&A going, so that's loading. Amazing. So hopefully, guys, you're going to be able to ask any questions that you have on the right-hand side. So please feel free to do that if you do have any questions about any of the challenge days that we've been going through, but also specifically on today's topic, which is on sales calls and just sales in general. So we'll be doing that. Before I get started, I'm just going to wait another couple of seconds just to make sure that everyone who wants to be on live is able to hop on. And then we will literally get started for this final day, which will be a little bit shorter than usual, so that you guys can, I know that it's one of those things whereby you want to kind of get as much done as possible by the end of the week. And I know being Thursday and all, you're probably having a long to-do list. So I want to make sure that this is concise, that it's super valuable, that you get what you need, you have the action steps to take, and then you can go off and make it happen online. So I'm excited to start. And what's really exciting about today as well is that we're going to have one person who's going to win my online course, which is Unleash Your Power and Get Visible Online, which is a really cool course because it literally walks you through all of these action steps on how to create your first paying clients, but it gives you even more detail. It gives you examples of how you can do it. It tells you how to take each step, and it gives you ideas on how to do it, right? Because after, you can tweak it and test it and experiment with it yourself, so that it feels really aligned with who you are. But what's awesome is having all of that information there for you so that you know what to do. And there are also some really cool mindset videos that tell you how to really get your programming set so that you're really creating successful results, so that you're always energized, that you're feeling abundant and relaxed as opposed to stressed and tense. Because I know that I was running around like a headless chicken when I first started this coaching business. And I've heard from my clients that that's kind of how they feel when they first start. They feel that sense of overwhelm. Awesome. So I want to get started so that you guys can get as much as possible today, and then you can ask me any questions that you have at the end if they pop up for you, okay? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So what we're going to do is today we're talking about the sales call. So I'm going to talk to you about a couple of steps that I'd highly recommend before you get on the phone with a potential client, and also what to do when you're actually on the call. I always say this, I think it's more important to do it your way than it is anything else. But I also know from experience that sometimes it's nice to have a couple of tools or a couple of steps, and then to learn to do it your way as soon as you've got that, right? Because sometimes when you have no idea where to start, you feel a little bit lost. So that's what we're going to go through today. What I will also say is that this is something that you'll continue to learn, continue to grow in, as will like I. It's one of those things that you can always develop your skills on. Sales is one of those things, right? Because it's just all about communication and building relationships and rapport with a potential client. Awesome. So we're going to go through those different points, and then at the end, I'll leave room for Q&A. I'll mention again the online course that you're going to be winning and how you can make sure to have that and to win it, which is really, really exciting. I'm psyched about that. So I'll talk about that, and then I'll also talk about if you want to implement more of these steps, and if you want to if you really want to like buckle down and start creating massive shifts and more quickly, and you're ready to collapse the timeline, and you want to start creating paying clients, making money, putting money in your bank account, in your savings account, you really want to start seeing that and feeling like you're really in business rather than feeling like you're just sort of doing the motions but not necessarily getting what you want. So I'll bring up something that you can do if you want more, because I know there are always people who want more. I'm one of those people very often. Cool, so let's get started, guys. So first of all, with regards to sales, what I wanted to bring up very, very first is before you even think about getting on the phone or getting on a Skype call with somebody that you might be working with, right? Not everyone's going to get on a call before you do run a sale, but very often, because my audience is service-based entrepreneurs and therefore your business is very much around you, very often you will get on some form of call, even if it's a really short one, just to find out if it's kind of the right match, the right fit, and if you know whether or not you guys would work well together. So before you do anything, I'd highly recommend, yet again, and this comes back to day one, getting crystal clear on what it is that you do for people. So what your zone of genius is, what results you create for other people, what the benefits are for people to work with you. And when you think about your avatar client, so the kind of client that you might walk on for a sales call with, you really want to be thinking about, okay, so this is point A. This is where my potential client would be right now. And you want to be crystal clear about that. Where are they? And then once they finish working with you, what is their point B? Where are they looking to get to? What are they looking to create? And in addition to that is, during those different steps of moving from point A to point B, where they want to be, what are you going to be doing? Are you going to be working in a certain way, in a specific mode? How are you going to be taking actions with them? How are you going to send them emails? How are you going to set everything up? And what benefits and what results are they going to get from working with you? Because if you're not crystal clear on that before you even get on the phone, well, when they do ask you at the end, you know, this sounds good, like I've enjoyed talking to you, can you just tell me again, like, you know, what it is that your program's about? Well, if you're unclear about what your benefits are of working with you or working on your program or in your service, people will feel like, why should I come work with you, right? Why should I come work with her? So get crystal clear again. What are the benefits, not the features? You can tell people, oh, I'm going to make this awesome action plan for you. They're like, I don't care. I don't want an action plan. I want to lose weight. Are you going to be able to make me feel sexy and confident again? Right? Like they don't, that's the thing about people. It's like a feature, like an action plan, even though you know in the back of your head that that's super important. For your client, they're going to be more focused on their problem. Okay, I've gained weight after, you know, having my baby, and where I want to be. I want to feel sexy again. I want to feel good. I want to be able to put my old jeans on. You know, it's really thinking about what are they going to be thinking. They're not going to be thinking about the features as much as the benefits. Okay, cool. So then the next thing that you want to think about is potentially testimonials. And before you think to yourself, well, I don't have any testimonials because I haven't really, you know, worked with anyone yet, and I get that, I would give yourself a second to think about that, because one, have you worked with people previously? You know, maybe you have worked before with other people, but you've never really thought of it as, you know, a client because it wasn't paid work. But if you got them awesome results, then maybe there is a chance of asking them for a really cool testimonial, right? If you don't have any of that and you've never worked with somebody for free, then maybe that is something that you'd want to do regardless before you even get on a sales call. You don't have to, but if you want to build up that level of confidence and really show that you do create results, which is really where the confidence comes from, as well as your mindset, well, then it's thinking about, okay, cool. So if I'm thinking about, what's it called? If I really want to grab a testimonial, what you could do is you could work with somebody for free for 3 weeks or for 4 weeks over a set of sessions, you know, whether it's building their website, building their marketing campaign, coaching them, working with them on a one-to-one basis as a, as a personal trainer online, whatever it might be. You could absolutely have people apply for some form of scholarship with you. You could, you know, promote it on Facebook by, again, focusing on the pain points, focusing on the benefits of working with you, and focusing on how they can actually reach out to you, right? You could even bring in your story, part of why this is so important to you, because very often people buy why, not what you do, right? They really buy into your story, why it's so important to you, and why they should work with you rather than someone else. So if you don't have testimonials yet, like that's the first thing I would recommend to do, is to actually go out there and to do free calls or to do free work or to do a website for free. Yeah, that might be like, whoa, that's a big thing, Olivia. Like that devalues your brand, all this stuff. I mean, again, this is just my truth. This is just my perspective. But once you have a rocking testimonial and a really great review and a reference that people can reach out to if they want to hear more about somebody that you've worked with, guess what? You're going to feel so much better on that sales call, right? Once you know that you can create results, regardless of whether they paid you money for those results, you still were able to create those results for that person, whether it was a website or marketing or whatever it might have been, right? Coaching. Cool. So that's the next thing I want to talk about. So testimonials is a big thing if you can have it. And references. You know, I had a one-to-one call with a potential coach that I wanted to work with. And what was really cool is she told me at the end of the call, she was like, look, like, if you want, you can speak to some of my references that I've worked with before, and you can see, you know, you can literally ask them confidentially what you think of what they thought of me and what results they were able to create. And I reached out to 3 of the people that she gave me references for, and it was amazing. The reviews were fantastic. They actually gave me tangible results that they were able to create with that specific coach. And I felt so much more confident in my decision to work with that coach because I'd spoken to 3 other people that she'd referenced who she'd worked with. And I couldn't have cared less if they had been paying clients or non-paying clients. In this case, it was paying clients, but even if it hadn't been, I don't care. I'm just glad that she was able to create those results for those people or help them create the results, right, as a coach. So again, references can be a great way, again, to just build up your confidence, build up your ability as somebody who's on a call, okay, on a sales call. And again, don't worry about it if you don't have it yet. Well, you could start working with somebody for free starting literally tomorrow if you wanted to. Set up a 3-week plan, set up a contract with them, even if they're not paying you, set up specific times and a specific agreement together, get on a call, get very crystal clear on what they want, and then start working with them, right? That way you've got a raving testimonial, you've got great results by the end of the 3 weeks, and then when you do get on a sales call, you're feeling fantastic, right? And you're feeling like, well, I've created results already, I can do it again, right? And that's a very different level of experience. Cool. The next thing I want you to be thinking about is the how. Because I think it's really good to be crystal clear on the benefits, on the value of your results, of how you're gonna take the client from point A to point B. But then the how is just as important. Why? Because I remember when I first started coaching a year ago, I remember getting on a sales call with people, and at the end they'd be like, this all sounds really good, like I'd love to start working with you, what's your program look like? And I was like, oh my gosh, like, wait, how many calls am I doing, and how much money am I charging, and what does my program look like? And in the back of my head, it was just very jumbled, because I wasn't crystal clear on what the actual logistics of my program were, right? And look, it's understandable, right? I was just starting my coaching business. I was completely new to it. But it's really thinking about that as well. Like, you need to know that inside and out. And if you don't have a million sales calls right now, that's totally cool. Practice in front of the mirror, practice with your partner, tell your friend, tell your mentor, tell your coach. Practice, practice, practice saying, you know, my program is, you know, it's a 4-month transformational program. You have 10 60-minute deep dive coaching sessions with me, full email support, and you get my online course, right? It's crystal clear. You know exactly what the price is. You know exactly what the program is. So again, be so clear so that that doesn't make you feel awkward when the person asks you, okay, I kind of want to work with you. Like, what's your program like? And then you're like, oh wait, I think it's 3 months. You know, you don't want to act like that, right? You want to be so grounded and clear on that. Cool. Next part, researching your client. A lot of people don't really, I find a lot of people don't really do this online, although there are some who do. Again, I would say that it's more the minority, although it's a really interesting thing because when I used to work at Bloomberg in financial sales for 3 years here in London, I used to work with a lot of portfolio managers, traders, investment bankers, that sort of thing. And we were always told to really know the company, you know the bank, know the people there, know if there's any changes, know the news with regards to that company, if there was any changes with regards to regulations. And we were meant to have that awareness in the back of our minds, right? Even if we don't pull it out, it just adds to that level of confidence, and it shows that you're really prepared. So if you're thinking about speaking to that potential client, you know, especially online, you can check out their profile page, you can check out their website if they've got one, if they're a business owner, at least you can check out like kind of who they are, you know, anything about them. It's just having that kind of little bit of grounding, like, yeah, I did my research, like I do know who you are and I know what you're about and I know what you care about. you're not going to know everything, right? But again, it's just adding that level of preparation so you can build up your confidence. Okay. Then the last thing I'll say that before you even get on the call is thinking about potentially having a questionnaire or some form of application for people to get on the phone with you. I'm one of those people whereby I still struggle with that in the sense that I like to just get on the phone with people because I'm a quick action taker, and I know that my types of clients are very quick and they make decisions quickly, and if they like me from the get-go, they usually just want to get on the phone with me and start working with me. So the application feels like it really slows things down, and for me in particular, for my kind of audience and my kind of tribe and the people I usually attract, they're quick, they just move fast, and they're action takers. And I have just found that up until now, I found that just getting on a call works really well. But I do know a lot of great people who do questionnaires or applications before you can even get on the phone with that coach or with that personal trainer or with that web designer, so that you know for sure that the person that you're going to get on the phone with is not going to waste your time, and they are actually looking for what it is that you provide, right? And they are looking to invest that amount of money. So that is something that's definitely to think about. Again, feel what it feels for you, right? I always say it, do it your way, do it on your terms. If it doesn't feel good at all, I would always test that. Obviously, like, sometimes we have some resistance because it's just us and we're like a little bit scared or a little bit uncomfortable. That's a little bit different. So I would always experiment at least once, but then if you keep feeling like it's just not you and it doesn't feel aligned with your truth or it doesn't feel authentic, something needs to be changed. Something needs to tweak slightly, right? So again, that's really important to feel and to look at. Okay, and then the last thing is, before you even get on the call, is to really ground yourself. Sometimes you'll just get on the call and you're a bit frantic because you've been going on Facebook and you've been creating videos, and all of a sudden you have a sales call and you haven't actually grounded yourself to make yourself feel really, really like, I'm settled, I feel good, I'm ready for this call, I'm ready, I'm prepared, I've got my notes here, or I've got like my notebook if I need to take any notes. I'm really crystal clear on this person and who I am, and I'm ready. Like, whether that's meditation, deep breathing, a 10-minute walk, just settling yourself down, making yourself feel really calm and collected before you get on the phone with somebody. And the reason I say this is, think about it. Like, have you ever been on the phone with somebody who was a coach or was a personal trainer or was a marketing manager? And I don't know if you've ever had a sales call whereby you think that that person is either really tired or really stressed out or just not very collected or grounded. And it's not about being perfect, and it's not about being super organized, right? Because some people are just not like that. But it's more about that feeling of that person's very grounded and is, and they can still be high vibe. I have a lot of energy, as you guys know. But just being grounded is so important because people feel that on the other side. If you're a pile of mess on this side because you're stressed, you're nervous, you haven't had time to do whatever it is that you needed to do, then you're not going to feel like it. You really want to get on that call. And you're also going to feel like super stressed when you come on, as opposed to really calm and like ready, excited, completely 100% present with the person who's right there. Right? Okay, cool. Awesome. So next part about the sales call is to think about, this is the thing. When I remember a year ago when I started my coaching business, I was so focused on my own program. I was so focused on like what it was that I was offering. And I was so focused on like my benefits and my values. Don't get me wrong. It's really important to know that. But your person that you're going to be speaking to, they need to feel as if you care about what they want. And they need to feel as if you actually are considering whether or not you're the right person for them. And they want to feel like you're just being really actually looking at, is this the right thing for you? Maybe it's not. Let's find out, rather than being like, this is my program, you absolutely need to be on it. And that just feels exhausting. There's a lot of pressure in there. And it's not surprising that you don't feel good doing that, right? I've never wanted to do that. That's the most opposed thing that feels to me. Like, I need to feel like I'm serving, and then I need to make sure that I feel like I can create the results for that person, or I can help create the results for that person, right? If I don't feel that way, that's just not going to feel good. That's where it starts feeling icky. So instead of coming on the call and being like, okay, cool, I'm going to literally sell this book or this service, and they're just going to have to take it, and this is going to be a yes, and I'm 100% sure it's going to be a yes. And then you get on the phone with them, and maybe it's not the right kind of person for you. Maybe you realize the personalities aren't quite right. Or maybe you realize that what they need is not what you have to offer. Or maybe you realize that the expertise or the skills or the service that they need is provided by someone else. What are you gonna do then? Are you just gonna be like still forcing it on them even though you know deep down like this is not the right thing for you? So when you go into a call and you really think about, besides anything else, one, I just wanna be able to serve this person, to take care of them, to serve them, right? Not to please them, because to please them might be a different way, right? But to just really genuinely serve this person who's gonna be on the phone with you. And then it's to think about what is it that they want and what is it that they need? And ask them, you booked this call with me. I'm just really curious. What made you decide to do that? What is it that you want more than anything else right now? And they'll tell you, like, I'm feeling this way. This is what I'd love to have, but I can't have it right now. And you're like, okay, tell me a little bit more about that. Well, I can't have it because there's this going on in my life and there's this piece, and then financially this is going on. You can be like, okay, so tell me more about, with regards to what you want, if you could be really even more specific, tell me more of what you want, right? And it sounds like the same question, but it's just delving in deeper. What else do they want? And what else do they want? And why do they want this? How important is this to them, right? And the more you understand what it is that they want and need, the more likely you are to know if you can even help them, because you might not be able to. And I think that when you know that and you realize that, the pressure is off. You don't think about forcing something down somebody's throat, being like, you have to take this program. It's more about thinking like, I wonder if this is the right program for this person. Let's find out, right? So you sit there, you're really present, and you ask them, what do you want? What do you need? And what's stopping you from getting what you want? What's holding you back from creating what you want? What are the issues that you're facing? Are there any challenges that you're facing in terms of creating that? What's been stopping you in the past from having it? And how much do you want it now? Is it like a must right now? Or do you feel like this is more of like 3 months from now? Like, does it feel like 100% like this needs to happen ASAP? Or do you feel like it's a bit of a kind of, how are you feeling about that? And you just keep diving deeper into terms of what do they want? Why do they want it? And is it important that they have it now? Because that is important too, because guess what? If they don't really want it now and there's a lack of urgency and commitment, then if they do decide to work with you, they're not gonna be 100% committed. And that means that the results that you were hoping to get for them, they won't get, because they won't be 100% committed to taking the actions on their side. Whether, let's say, for example, you're a marketing manager and you're helping someone in terms of building a marketing campaign, building a marketing strategy, and helping them to get visible online. Let's say that that's what you do. Well, if you have somebody who's not 100% committed or who doesn't feel like they need it now, well, then when you actually start working with them and you're waiting for details or information or responses or emails, they're going to be maybe really slow to get back to you, or it won't be moving forward, and then the deadlines won't be met, and they might not create the results. So it's really about thinking, what do they want? Why do they want it? How bad do they want it? What will happen if they don't make a change now, right? Because it's true, like all of us could keep living exactly the same way we are. You could be living the same way you are right now, not creating paying clients, and we could just stay in this space, right? And I could stay in the space of creating the level of income that I make now, the level of clients that I have now, and I could just stop expanding. But it's, very often people realize like, well, no, I want things to change. I want more, and I'm done with waiting. I don't want to wait anymore. And I also have tried to do it on my own, and I realize now that I really need the help, or I really need the support, or I really need the expertise. So the more you understand your client, the person who's in front of you, or your prospect, the more you'll know whether or not what you have to even provide is the right thing for them. And the more you can be like, well, how much do you need this? And what will happen if you don't change this? And what will your life look like if you do get to change this? And what will your life look like if you don't make any changes and you keep doing what you've been doing up until now? And the more they do that, then you'll see, you'll have so much of a better idea of where they're at. And then the next part is potentially to ask them something like, if you could literally have a magic wand and create your own solution to your problem or to your pain point or to your current situation, what would be the ideal solution? And they might say, well, I think the ideal solution is to get a coach. Or maybe they'll say, well, the ideal solution is to really outsource my website. Or maybe they'll tell you, like, honestly, the ideal solution right now is to get a virtual assistant because there's just too much, right? Whatever, like they'll tell you what their ideal solution is, and you'll find out then and there. They might have even already sold themselves onto your program because they've actually realized through the questions that they do really want that, right? Or they might realize that they don't actually need that, and there's another kind of solution that pops up. They realize that maybe they realize at that point, they're like, oh my God, I've just realized that all I really need is a scheduler and this sort of thing, and I'll just get that software. Great. So either way, you've served them. On the one hand, they've decided to work with you, which is awesome. And on the other hand, they haven't, but they've been able to be really served, and they've really found a solution to their issue. Either way, it's not a bad thing for you, right? I used to always feel really bad when people would say no, or it wasn't the right time, or whatever. And now it's like, well, no, it's just not a good fit, right? It just means that I'm not the right person for them, or I'm not the right solution or the right benefit or the right value, right, for them. Maybe they need something else. Awesome. So what else do I want to talk about with regards to that? Boom, boom, boom. Yes. With regards to a potential money story, because what does sometimes show up is that at the very end, people have, told you they really want something. They know that they need to change it. They're 100% committed. They know how bad they need it. They don't want their life to continue this way, and they need the change, whether that's a website or whether that's a virtual assistant, whether that's a retreat, they need to go on holiday, whatever it might be, right? And then they tell you, oh, but financially, I can't do it. I don't know if you guys have ever had a sales call like that. I'm guessing that yes, if you've been on a couple sales calls. If not, there's a high chance that you'll potentially get that at some point. And that's cool, right? Because that's gonna happen. Think about you. Sometimes you've really wanted something really, really bad. You've known how important it is for you, but you've thought to yourself, well, financially, it's not really the right time. Or financially, do I really have the money to invest in that right now? I've got my bills, I've got my living expenses, right? So we've always been in a situation like that. But when that happens, there's also an interesting thing that comes up, is that one, that means that there's a good chance that they don't actually think that their problem or the issue that they have is that bad. Because if their issue or their problem or their pain point was that bad, they would do anything to get it away. They would do anything to resolve it. And money would no longer become an issue. They would find it on a credit card. They would find a loan. They would borrow money. They would create the cash in some way. They'd get a freelance, contract work. They would find a way to be able to solve that problem, money or not, right? So one, it's knowing that maybe actually your program is not quite right for them. And then, or it's that they haven't realized how bad they actually want something or need something, right? Either way, that means that maybe more time should be spent on the actual questions of figuring out what do they want, why do they want that, and getting really, really crystal clear and diving really deep on the question side. Two, it could just be that they don't believe in themselves, right? In the sense that I've had clients whereby they've told me it's financial, and then a couple of weeks later they've told me, actually, I do want to work with you, and the only reason I said that is because I was scared that I wouldn't be able to create the results myself. I was scared because I didn't really believe in myself, right? So sometimes it's not even about you, it's about the person. The person doesn't necessarily believe in themselves, and they're scared to hire a web designer, or they're scared to hire a virtual assistant, or they're scared to hire a coach because they don't know deep down if they're going to be able to create enough results to continue to pay that, right? Or to pay off the investment. So that's another thing, is that sometimes it's not about you, it's about their beliefs. So you can coach them on that, you can ask more questions, or if it feels like that's not really your expertise, you can leave that and just kind of follow up a couple of weeks or a couple of months later. What's it called? It could also be money blocks and money stories. And we're not going to go through that now just because of time. But I would say that that's something that you could absolutely delve into, to just ask them, like, well, do you want to talk about that? You know, it sounds like you're feeling really stressed out about money. Do you want to talk about, you know, how you could make it work? You could just ask their permission, you know, if that's something that feels like the right thing to do at the time. Cool. The last thing that I'll say with regards to the sale is that at the you know, at the end, if they've said yes, awesome, then they'll probably ask you about the contract, about payment, about, you know, how it's going to start. And that's really important, that you're just really, really crystal clear on what it is that you need, which is what we spoke about on the very first point. And then the second thing is to tell them that you're going to follow up, right? So let's say that somebody, I don't know, somebody says no, but you think it would still be an awesome fit. Then you could say, like, okay, that's cool, like, no worries. What's it called? I'll send you a couple of resources that I think could be really, really valuable for you in an email. And then if you have any questions about it at all, just let me know if I can help, right? You could do that, and that way you could follow up in an email, and then maybe a month or 2 months later, you could always follow up with another email just to see how they're doing, really simply, right? Just building that relationship and just seeing how you can help and be of service, right? The more you think about it as, how can I be of service, the more relaxed you are about it, because you're like, cool, I'm just gonna be of service, right? And that way people feel very comfortable. They don't feel like they're being pressured. They feel like they're actually just being like asked questions on whether or not this is the right fit for them. So follow-up is really, really important. Awesome. Before I finish that, the last thing I'll say is make sure that you know whether or not you have a finance plan, because people will often ask you that. Depends how expensive your program is, but again, that's all relative. So it's good to just know, be really clear in your own mind, do I offer a finance plan? And if yes, what is it, right? And be crystal clear. Do people pay you upfront? Do people pay you at the end? I like for people to pay me upfront. I do have a payment plan, but again, everyone's different, right? What do you want to have available for you? Cool. This is not a question, but I like your red dress with red lips and nails today. It makes me feel like it's almost Friday. Hilarious, Mo. Aaron, that's hilarious. Oh, Aaron. No, that's not Aaron. That's Carrie. Carrie, I always get mixed up with your first name, Mo, from Mocha. Amazing. So let's see, do you guys have any questions about anything on today's topic with regards to sales and creating sales and looking at the sales call in a much more service focused way? Like, if you just go through those steps, it feels a lot more natural. It feels a lot more relaxed. You're not focused on your program as much as you're focused on what your person really wants and needs, and whether or not you're even the right person for them, because you might not be, and you might need to just refer them to someone else. So if you don't have any questions, I'll give you guys a couple seconds just to see if you have any questions about any of that, because I know it is the final day of the challenge. If there's any questions even about the last few days, you're more than welcome to ask me as well. And there have been almost like 40 views with regards to the replay, only up to, which is already now, up until now. I'm guessing there are going to be more. So if you are watching this on the replay, the best place to ask me any questions about this training or this challenge on how to create your first paying clients is on my Facebook group, Dare to Dream with Olivia Charlet. And I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions on there. It's a really great place to be. Cool. Okay, it doesn't look like you guys have any questions specifically on sales or any of the other days for this challenge. What I will say is one of you guys is going to be winning the online course that I have on my website, oliviacharlet.com. It's all on how to create your first paying clients online. It's called Unleash Your Power and Get Visible Online. It's an amazing course. I made it because a year ago, I wish somebody had made a course like this for service-based entrepreneurs who were trying to create their first paying clients online. And I couldn't find anything that was as concise and had the action steps and that had like a workbook and video. And I really wanted that at the time. I wanted something that felt, you know, reasonable, but whereby I could literally just buy it and then start taking action. And that's why I decided to design that course. So I absolutely love it. It's got all of the action steps on how you can literally unleash your power, get clear on your zone of genius, get crystal clear on your ideal client, know what your benefit, your solution, your value is, and then know how to actually have a plan on how to get visible online, what kind of things you can use, what examples you can use. It's got all of the action steps and how you can actually start booking, you know, 3 to 5 sales calls a week. That's the average that my clients get. Again, that can be different from every person, especially depending on whether or not you're really taking the action, whether you're showing up, and how you're showing up, right? Because it's all about whether or not you're really putting yourself out there. So that's my online course, and one person is winning that today for free, which I'm super excited. So what you can do, I've said this in the email, but I'm gonna repeat it here just in case anyone's missed the email. What you can do is on my Facebook group, you can literally just write a post about the actions that you've already taken based off of this challenge and webinar training, right? So I want you to feel free to post anything that you've taken action on after having watched these different trainings. It can just be one thing, it can be 3 things, it can be whatever comes to mind, the things that you've actually taken action on. I've already seen that Carrie has posted on the Facebook group about it, and we'll see if there's anyone else who specifically posts about that. And then the one person who posts will win. So I'll literally pick it out of a hat, I'll like put in the names on a little piece of paper, and then I'll just literally pick it out. Which is really exciting. I can't wait for the person to actually win it. And the last thing I'll say, guys, is I have I would love for any of you guys who have absolutely adored this 4-day training, this 4-day challenge, you freaking loved it, you're really looking to create your first paying clients, and you're so ready to really make money doing what you absolutely adore. If you're 100% tenacious about making, your dreams a reality, if you're very committed, if you're super action taker, if you've got that fighter spirit, if you're so ready, like there's no doubt in your mind, you're like ready, you can still be scared, you can still have limiting beliefs, you can still not feel very confident about what you do. That's cool. I've been there and I get that, but I want somebody who's really a fighter. If that's somebody like you, I would love, love, love for you to reach out to me with regards to my one-to-one program. So right now what I have is I have a 4-month program. It's a transformational business and mindset program for brand new service-based women entrepreneurs who are looking to create their first paying clients. Okay, so what this consists of, it's 4 months. It is 10 deep dive, 60-minute coaching sessions with me over Skype. It's full on. I challenge you, I push you, I support you. I'm there 100% for you. And we create a massive strategy. We get in your mind, we help you really take away those limiting beliefs, those blocks that you have, those thoughts that you have, and we get you crystal clear on the massive inspired actions that you need to be taking every single day to start creating those first paying clients, okay? It's full on, it's exciting, it's exhilarating, it's amazing, and the results are incredible. You guys will see there are 3 video testimonials that are gonna be coming up on my website, oliviacharlet.com, with the testimonials of my past clients. Cool. So if you're interested in that, the best thing to do is reach out to me on my email, which you can just reply to on any of the emails you received this week. Or you can reach out to me on my website, which is oliviacharlet.com, and you can ask to basically schedule a call with me to have a 45-minute call to decide whether or not I'd be the right coach for you with regards to creating your dream reality, really creating those first paying clients, making the money, getting out of that overwhelm and actually knowing what you're meant to be doing, and also getting your mindset right so you feel energized, you feel successful, you feel abundant, you feel confident, you feel like you can do this, that it is possible for you, right? So if that sounds like something like you, I'd love for you to reach out. Awesome. And for those of you guys who are not quite ready, you absolutely have my online course up there, which is under oliviacharlet.com, that you're more than welcome to check that out as well. Awesome, guys. It's been an amazing time. I've absolutely loved spending these last 4 days with you. The feedback on the trainings have been amazing. It sounds like you guys have absolutely loved the content, which has been great, and I'm so, so happy. I would love to hear your feedback, what you want more of, what you want less of, what you love for the challenge that I'm probably setting up in April. If you want any more details, more on mindset, more on success, tell me what you want, because that way I can create it. I can serve you the best I can, right? Because my biggest goal is to empower you to take massive inspired action to really create your dreams, to make it happen ASAP and really collapse the timeline so you can start making money much more quickly than you ever thought was possible, and start really bringing your gift out to the world, right? Start making your impact, because I know how important it is for you. I know how passionate I am about what I do. So I'm guessing you're very similar to me, because you wouldn't be following me, you wouldn't be in my audience or my tribe, and I get that. Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. So tell me about your feedback. give me any questions on the Facebook group, Dare to Dream with Olivia Charlet, and I'll see you guys super soon for my next training or my next Periscope at Olivia Charlet, and I can't wait. Bye, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and I'll speak to you guys super soon.